12 one-hit wonders from 53 years ago. Remember when this song got your body moving? Or when this one had everyone jumping up in the disco? Over 50 years ago, these were true one-hit wonders that defined an era of bell-bottoms and mirror balls, etched forever in our memories. Today, we're cracking open that treasure chest of nostalgia to rediscover 12 fleeting gems that shone brightly and left an unforgettable mark. 12, Stuck in the Middle with You by Stealers Wheel. Let's head back to that magical 1972 with this melody. It was a time when music was bursting with unexpected blends, with bands popping up out of nowhere and leaving us with lasting memories. Stealers Wheel, a Scottish group, didn't set out to conquer the world, but their song Stuck in the Middle with You slipped into our collective consciousness. The tune is light, almost playful, but if you recall the lyrics, there's a hidden irony about feeling trapped in absurd situations, the kind we all stumble into when we're young. When it played on the radio during those afternoons when we waited for our favorite song, we savored every second, clapping along to the beat. A fun fact many forget. This track became iconic thanks to a scene in Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. But back then, it was just a radio gem that made us smile and sigh at the same time. Stealers Wheel never matched that level of success again, but for one moment, they made us feel like we were all stuck in the middle together, happy and united. Before we move on, we'd love to know, what's your name and how old are you? Drop it in the comments. Let's keep going. 11, Dancing in the Moonlight by King Harvest. If we were reflecting with the last song in the background, this one had us dancing under the moonlight. Dancing in the Moonlight was King Harvest's masterpiece, a band that felt like it came from a dream, giving us a song that's impossible to forget, no matter how many years pass. Its lyrics spoke of simple joy, dancing under the moon without a care, as if the outside world didn't exist. In a complex historical moment, with social and political changes sweeping the United States and beyond, this music was a refuge. It was an escape from reality, even if just for about 3.5 minutes. Fun fact, King Harvest was made up of musicians who'd bounced around unsuccessful bands, but that perfect blend of vocals and keyboards created a hit that still sparks nostalgia. One song captured the spirit of a generation that wanted to believe they could dance under the moon without a worry in the world. Give us a like if you prefer old school songs over today's tunes. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl by Looking Glass.
There's a girl in this Harvard town, she works.
That magical year gave us a song that felt tailor-made for dedicating to someone you love. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl by Looking Glass had a touch of melancholy and romance, a simple story that stuck in our minds. Brandy was a young woman working at a port, the unrequited love of many sailors, a slice of life tale that somehow made us dream. Every time you heard it, you couldn't help but picture the scene. Ships pulling in with stories of distant seas, letters that never arrived, and the sweet solitude of someone who gives their all to others. On the radios of that era, its melody floated through smoky bars and diners, and every listener found a piece of their own story in Looking Glass's voice. The band never replicated that success, and Brandy remained a perfect moment frozen in time. And maybe that's the beauty of it. Some memories don't need to repeat to stay alive. 9. How Do You Do by Mouth MacNeal.
How do you do? I thought
Who'd have thought this musical duo would take over the airwaves amid so many stars? Mouth and MacNeal, hailing from the Netherlands, turned the music world upside down with How Do You Do? The song is a burst of optimism, a cheerful greeting that turns into an invitation to share life, even if just for a few minutes. Its catchy rhythm wouldn't let anyone stay still. You couldn't help but nod along or at least crack a knowing smile. Back then, radio was the messenger of emotions, and a good hit could lift the mood of an entire afternoon. Mouth and MacNeal never managed another hit of that magnitude, but what they left behind was a reminder that music can be fleeting and eternal at the same time. A simple question that echoed in millions of homes, connecting us to something so human, the need to reach out to others. 8. Nice to Be With You by Gallery. It was 1972. The air was thick with change, dreams, and new ways to live music, and Gallery slipped in quietly to give us their gift. Nice to Be With You was a soft, almost shy song, but so sincere it went straight to the heart. The guys in Gallery weren't cover story stars, nor did they try to be. They were just bar musicians, road warriors, playing small venues, but that melody rang true. In car radios and dimly lit discos, we all sang that line like we were talking to someone special. Like all these stories, Gallery couldn't repeat that success, but maybe that made this memory shine brighter. You hear it today, and it's impossible not to see images of patterned shirts, sunset drives, and endless chats with friends. It was unpretentious music, the kind that sticks not for the spectacle, but for what it makes you feel. What era would you like us to make a video about? Comment below. 7. Joy by Apollo 100. Just months earlier, an instrumental track knocked on our door with the same force to capture our hearts. Joy by Apollo 100 was a true musical journey. Close your eyes, and you can still hear that electric organ turning Bach into something pop, light, and vibrant. It was proof that classical music could dance with the 1970s modernity without losing its elegance. This song was different. No lyrics, but it didn't need them. It played on radio stations as we lived our lives, and suddenly, amid all the rock, soul, and Latin rhythms, joy shone like a beam of light, a nod to the past in the middle of a musical revolution. Truth is, Apollo 100 was a short-lived, almost accidental project. A group of British musicians came together to experiment with modern takes on classical melodies. But in that era, anything seemed possible, mixing Bach with electric keyboards, and millions welcomed it with a smile. That perfectly defines 1972 pure, boundless creativity. 6. Popcorn by Hot Butter. For many of us, this was the first time we heard a synthesizer in a pop song. Popcorn by Hot Butter gave us a futuristic, almost spacey sound that was so simple it stuck in your head for days. An instrumental melody that felt like it came from a video game before they even became a thing. Back then, this track was like a magic trick. It sounded unlike anything else, like seeing a color TV after years of black and white. And yet, it played on the radio, at parties, and even on some TV shows. Hot Butter never had another hit like it, but that moment was enough to mark the childhood and youth of millions. Plus, Popcorn gave us a glimpse of the future, making us feel like music could come from anywhere, even machines with buttons and wires. It was the decade when music surprised us with something new every day. 5. Jungle Fever by Chakachas.
Ay, qué fiebre, ay.
And here we hit one of the boldest moments of that year. Jungle Fever by Chakachas. A Belgian group with Latin roots dared to mix fiery percussion with suggestive moans and a rhythm that felt almost forbidden. When it played on the radio, some parents turned down the volume, but for the youth of the time, it was pure magic. It was 1972, and the world was buzzing about freedom, breaking taboos, and experimenting. Jungle Fever was one of those songs that needed no translation. Its language was pure rhythm and sensuality, an instrumental track that felt like it came from an imaginary jungle full of mystery and heat. Chakachas never repeated that chart-topping feat, but that song became a symbol of a bolder, more colorful era. It was music for dancing, for laughing at boundaries, for remembering that in the 1970s, anything was possible. Listen to it today, and you can still feel the beat of the congas, the smoky vibe of the dance floor, and the innocent daring of those days when everything seemed simpler. 4. Hold Your Head Up by Argent. In that far-off, beautiful 1972, cultural shifts were felt on every corner, and Argent, a band that stole our hearts for a brief moment, rode the wave with Hold Your Head Up, a song that told us almost like fatherly advice to keep our heads held high. Its message was simple but powerful, and maybe that's why it resonated so much with us. Truth is, Argent rose from the ashes of the Zombies, a band that had already given us unforgettable melodies, but this new project wanted to be different, bigger, bolder, more in tune with the era's spirit, and boy did they nail it with this track. When it played on the radio, it felt like the voice was speaking right to you, like a friend in a tough moment. In an era dominated by dance, that was worth its weight in gold. The funny thing is, despite its massive success, Argent never had another hit that universal, but Hold Your Head Up became a reminder of resilience. Many men and women of our generation listened to it for strength, to face tough days, to remember that even in storms you could walk with dignity. Subscribe to the channel if you're a true music lover. Let's keep going. 3. Thunder and Lightning by Coltrane. While we enjoyed old favorites like Argent, a wave of new voices came to claim their spot on the charts. Among them was Coltrane with Thunder and Lightning, a song with grit, with power, with a piano that roared like a summer storm. Chi wasn't your typical 1970s female star, she had something more. Raw energy, determination, a kind of elegant rebellion that made her unique. This song was like opening a window in the middle of a storm and feeling the wind on your face. Its blend of rhythm and emotion made it an instant hit. Radio DJs introduced it with extra enthusiasm, like they knew we were hearing something special. But, like Argent, Coltrane couldn't repeat that success with the same force. Thunder and Lightning became her personal stamp, bold and incredible. And maybe that's what's beautiful. When you hear it today, you still feel that initial spark, that endless energy that made us vibrate with every note. 2. Say You Don't Mind by Colin Blunstone.
So say you don't mind, you left me off this.
One of the 1970s subtle and melancholic anthems, we have to pause to talk about Say You Don't Mind by Colin Blunstone. Also from the Zombies, he carved his own path, and his solo career showed his most intimate, less flashy side. This song felt like a shared secret, like those confessions you whisper as the afternoon fades. In 1972, amid the noise of electric guitars and sonic experiments, Colin gave us a delicate piece with string arrangements that seemed from another time. It was a pause many of us needed in our youth, a moment to breathe, to think of someone we loved or dreams we still had to chase. The irony is that this beauty barely grazed the charts outside the United Kingdom, but for those who found it, Say You Don't Mind was a hidden treasure. A song that reminds us that even in the loudest moments, there's room for sensitivity and tenderness. 1. Easy Livin' by Uriah Heep. We wrap up this journey with a song whose magic lay in its simplicity, with an unpretentious philosophy that hooked us from the first note, Easy Livin' by Uriah Heep. That year, this British band seemed to be everywhere with their powerful rock and bold image, but it was this short, direct song that crashed into our lives. Easy Livin' didn't preach grand philosophies. It was about living easy, feeling life without complications. In an era of economic crises and political tensions, that message was like a balm. It was a song to crank up, to drive with the windows down and the wind in your face, to dance without caring who was watching. Though Uriah Heep kept releasing albums and gaining loyal fans, Easy Livin' was their universal passport. Many knew the song before they even knew the band, a burst of pure energy packed into a few minutes, a capsule of enthusiasm that still sounds fresh and alive today. A snapshot of what our lives were like in those magical years. And that's the end of our journey. We'll leave you with a video of another list of old school songs if you want to keep reliving the nostalgia of those times. Catch you next time.